Go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Yeah, these championship rings on my hands now. In my head I'm top 10, yeah, that's hands down. You a squad, now you're looking man down. Funny how foes turn to friends now. Drive a race car like a Atari now. Call filling up, I need product again. Treat the business like a playground, might slide on you. Don't me wrong, might slide on you. Do a backflip, cause I'm mad rich. I'm the definition of what that is. Go hard, go home, go hard, go hard, go home, go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home.
What's up? A very good morning edition of the final Big 12 regular season finale show of the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Network.
Yes, sir. Of course,
I'm your guy, Harish Nikala, and this is my guy, Tim Lane. Tim, how was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was a good Thanksgiving. Had some family members down that haven't been down in over 20 years. So it was definitely good to have those people come into town. You know, got to sit back, eat, got to watch the Cowboys win. So yeah, it was a good night. Friends, family, football, you know. That was it, man.
Awesome. We finally got to host our first major event, I guess you could call it, in our house. So it's pretty cool. We had our family over yesterday. Got to host Thanksgiving for the first time. So that was really cool. It's good to have everybody at the house.
Did you happen to have any cooking blunders?
No, we did not. We actually started cooking Wednesday night, and then my wife, my sister-in-law, mother-in-law got up early yesterday and continued, and then I casually woke up at about 11 or 12.
Nice. So we always go over to my aunt's house after dinner. This time we actually had dinner over at her house as well, and there's always a cooking blunder. So one year, you know, for many years, and we've been doing this for 20 plus years. So last year was a power went out. The year before that, the oven went out. Like it just completely shorted out.
Oh gosh.
So this year, we smoked out the whole house. Something like fell at the bottom of the oven, and so it just started cooking like real crazy, and it just went everywhere. Like the whole house was full of smoke. But nothing too crazy.
Who is the unfortunate reason for the smoke? Like what fell?
So we were making sweet potatoes, and they needed to be. So my aunt, I don't know how you guys eat sweet potatoes, but there's people that eat them whole. They consider them yams. If puree them, sweet potatoes. Yep. So a little bit of, I don't know if you put marshmallows on there. A couple marshmallows and a little bit of that sweet potato fell at the bottom of the oven, and it just but we still ate. It was still great. It was still good.
I will tell you what we did do though is
what's that?
We did what did we do? Oh, instead of making a turkey, we baked turkey wings and turkey legs.
Word?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I see some interesting people. I seen like friends and family that were cooking turkeys in a very interesting manner, and I definitely want to try it in the future. But I'm good with what we had yesterday because I definitely got down on some honey baked ham and some turkey and all the good stuff.
No ham this year. We did greens with ham hock.
Yes.
And we did obviously the turkey legs. My wife made vegan collard greens for my parents.
Vegan collard
for my parents because they can't do
Oh, right.
And then
I got you. Respect.
we did a smoked turkey. We put a smoked turkey leg
Okay.
and collard greens for us. That was pretty
Okay.
good. Then we did cornbread, of course.
Right.
Because we forgot the rolls or we waited too long in the rolls.
Rolls is so important. Dog.
I know, bro.
I love cornbread, but
I even went yesterday and I tried to get some late. I was too late. But yeah, it was good. It was good. You know, I had a good old time. And then I went to Specs on Tuesday. I hadn't tried this yet. I'll probably try this during the game tonight. But I went to Specs on Tuesday, and I got a bottle of whiskey.
Okay.
And then I did Freezador Old Fashions.
Okay.
So basically, just take out a little bit of whiskey, put in some sugar water, simple syrup. Yep.
Right.
Simple syrup. And I forgot the name, so I said sugar water for a second. Simple syrup and bitters.
Okay.
And it's been sitting in the freezer.
And so it's been. That's gonna be good.
It's good. It's strong. It is strong. So I'll be drinking that during the game tonight. It's
old fashioned. Listen, an old fashioned on the rocks.
Some old fashions.
An old fashioned on the rocks. Might throw a little bit extra bitters in there. You know, I'm not a really heavy drinker, but I do like an old fashioned. I do like a martini. Those would probably be my top two if I had to go to any of them. Old fashioned, martini, either one. But that old fashioned over a nice little. You have the cinder ice.
I'm gonna go on Black Friday today. I'm gonna go buy. So I need to go do two things for Black Friday. I know we're kind of digging deep into the hole here, but that's okay. I kind of need to do two things for Black Friday today. I need to go buy a new Xbox controller because my left bumper on all four of my controllers is kaputs.
Yep, because you play FIFA all day.
Thanks. Yeah, that's actually right. And then I need to go. So there's these glasses. Here, I'll see if I can find them. We'll show them to everyone. Let's see. Whiskey half eyes glasses. They look like this, and they're called Corsical. They're wedge glasses.
Okay.
And they look like this, and I really want one. I'm hoping to go find one on sale today. Probably won't, but I'm just gonna use.
You gotta hit that Total Wine, dog.
We don't have a Total Wine down here in Kyle, so I have to go to South Austin and go into
okay.
Steps. But it looks like this.
Oh.
So half of it is iced, right?
Right.
The other half of it is what you drink in it, and it keeps it cool while it's in there.
Right.
I really want one of these. So
okay.
I'm on the hunt to find one today.
All right. Well, that's dope.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna get this one. I think Specs has one. For those of you guys that don't go to Specs, please go to Specs. It's actually a pretty amazing place.
It's actually very, even if you're not a drinker, right? Like they have charcuterie boards. They got all types of stuff for like mixers and juices and different types of. If you're a beer drinker, right?
They got all sorts of beers.
All types of beer from all around the country, all around the world. Great place to go get gifts. It's not gonna cost you an arm and a leg. It's a really good place to go, even if you're not a drinker. You like certain type of glasses. I used to when I was a kid, and my grandmother, God rest her soul, I was a big time root beer float guy as a kid. So she would go and get the heavy duty mugs, and she would chill my mug, and then she would pour root beer in it, and then hit me off with a little bit of that Bluebell vanilla on top of everything. So yeah, man, it's got all types of stuff there, man. If you're not big on drinking, don't really matter.
Yeah,
it's got something for everybody.
So I'm gonna sip that up for the game tonight.
Okay, all right.
And I bought the 750 milliliters, so it makes like 10 to 12 glasses.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
But yeah, man, it was a good day. We had a good day. All right. Now that we've had our good times out of the way, let's talk about Texas. But first, of course, as always, we are brought to you by FanBattleSports.com. brought to you by the Fan Battle Network. Shout out to those guys once more. Visit us, fanbattlesports.com, for the latest and greatest for all the AFC South, including the Colts, Texans, Jaguars, and the Mayo-Eaton Titans. And, of course,
Mayo-Eaton Titans. Dog, you got a...
What? You've never... Bro, their quarterback puts mayo in their coffee.
I know. That is a thing, though. That is a thing, to be fair. Yeah. That's not just him. That is a thing.
That is a Tennessee thing.
Right.
And they're the Tennessee Titans. But anyway.
Let's move on.
Move on. And, of course, you can hear about us. There will be one day where Tim and or I start to put up articles. Probably the off-season. We'll probably use the off-season for that. We've been really using this season to get off the ground. But as we kick off season 2, we'll be posting lots of information on there. Visit us, fanbattlesports.com. All right. Follow us on Twitter, guys. We are at 241 followers. We are just 9 followers away from 250. And as we promised last week, at 250 followers, we will be doing a giveaway on next week's show as part of the Big 12 Championship game preparations.
To be fair, the last time I checked, which was, I want to say earlier this week, we're definitely in the 220s. So major shout outs to everybody who follows. Again, Harish, the king of trash talk when it comes to the Twitter fingers and the Facebook fingers. You do some hilarious work on there, going back and forth with Aggie fans, going back and forth with basically anybody who wants to talk trash, right? That is your strength when it comes to utilizing the Fan Battle Twitter feed. You're undefeated, sir. I have yet to see anybody really just come back blow for blow with you just yet. I haven't seen it. Probably will not see it. I can't wait to see what happens next year when we're in the SEC.
Once we get done next week with our season, I'm gonna start finding out SEC, like the best SEC Twitter pages.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've already spoken to some SEC. Hey, look, it's all friendly banter, right? Actually, in the middle of all this, over the last couple of weeks, we found an Oregon fan who's very passionate. He's actually a super cool guy. So it's all in big fun.
Right.
It's all.
Yeah, we're not malicious at all. We just it's all, we're fans. This is why we're on the Fan Battle Sports Network, one of the best sports networks out there. When it comes to trash talk, when it just comes to rooting for your team, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be with the Fan Battle Sports, Fan Battle Sports Network for sure.
Yeah. So, it's all in good fun. So long at LH Fan Battle again. 241 followers, just 9 more followers to get to 250.
Right. We
will do our first giveaway, and then we'll do our next giveaway at 1,000 because. That's what we're aiming for. We're aiming big around here. So
aiming big.
Tim and I will discuss what we'll do if we hit that. We will hit that mark, by the way. Spoiler alert. So we'll start discussing and putting together what that looks like, and we'll do a giveaway either on next Thursday's show, or we'll do the giveaway the morning of the Big 12 Championship game next Saturday.
Heck yeah! It's Big 12 Championship, dog. Yeah. But first.
We gotta take care of it. Just let's say it, because spoiler, I don't think we'll have any issues, but we just need to take care of business tonight.
Take care of business.
And of course, finally follow us on YouTube, Longhorn Fan Battle. A couple of weeks ago we had Steven from Fanatic Perspective on here.
Always a good time, Steve.
That was a fun episode. I believe that was last week. Yeah, that was last week. That was a fun episode. And he's actually shouted us out a couple times on his show. So shout out to him that show. Appreciate that, Steven. Shout out to him. Hope he had a good Thanksgiving as well. We're going to have some guests lined up for the off season that I'm currently working through. So pretty cool guests in my opinion. So shout out to follow us on YouTube. We have shows all week, all off season, guys. So for the next 9 months, we will be in your ear talking about anything and everything Texas sports. So basketball season just started up. Texas had a tough loss on Tuesday night against the 5th best team in the nation, but
the defending national champions.
National champions. You're down your two centers.
Right.
I think it was still a good showing.
Right. Yeah.
And we can talk about that real quick. Texas loses 72-62. But you know who was really impressive to me? Dylan Mitchell was very impressive.
Absolutely.
He looked very good.
Absolutely. To quickly put, we did not know that Texas was going to lose both centers, right? That was not a thing. You know, I knew that they were banged up. You know, they mentioned it in the previous game when they hit the buzzer beater. So kind of knew like kind of what to expect. They beat. Was that U of H that they beat? Or
no,
Louisville.
They beat Louisville in a very back and forth game. That game was back and forth the entire game.
Louisville was no slouch. Okay, we know Louisville in the past has had really great teams, and they look like they're going to be very, very solid to come throughout the season. So I definitely will be checking them out just to see it, because people kind of expected Texas to kind of just walk away with it. And that was not necessarily the case. So, and not to say that Texas played bad or anything. It was both teams played very well. Both teams rebounded very well. Both teams shot very well. So I will be following Louisville as well as the Longhorns, because they looked very, very good. But going into Utah, we were definitely playing undersized. And you could tell, I mean, you jump out to a 9-2 run. You run to a situation where, again, you don't have your best players on the floor. And when you don't have your best players on the floor, it kind of shows. I would definitely say the strength of our team this year is our big men, and it has been like that for the last couple of years, in my opinion. So when you don't have those two guys on the floor, it is definitely, because UConn is they're a big team.
They're huge.
They're long. So it was really hard to play them. UConn jumped out to a 9-2 start. You know what I mean? Like it was rough. It was rough, but it showed some fight. They showed some grit, and that's really all you could ask for. I know a lot of people don't necessarily believe in like what's the win I'm looking for? I don't know. I can't put it into words right now. I can't think of the wording, but it was still a good look, even for them to be playing undersized and without their two big men. So kudos to them for that.
We will know what this team is not when just Keaton Cedric gets back. I think they kept him out as precautionary. I think he had a little back issue, and if he didn't, he would have played. I think we would have done okay.
Right.
When Dylan
I definitely think it wouldn't have been a blowout. You know, I don't think there would be a.
I don't even think it wasn't even a blowout. I mean, Texas was
they crawled back into four.
They crawled back into the game.
Right. Yeah.
They would lose by 10.
Right.
I think we'll really know what this team is in January, February, once Dylan Dessou gets back and he's healthy.
Right.
Dylan Dessou is the missing piece to this team. I fully believe it. I think we're going to beat Miami with Dylan Dessou last year. I think this team gets to the Final Four.
This year?
No. I think they get there this year.
Okay.
They should. If Dylan Dessou plays last year in that Miami game, they get to the Final Four.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
But Miami, they hit everything last year. Like
they did. They could not miss a three. Right. But again, length. But when you have those possessions where they do miss those threes, and you have a guy that can go get boards,
right,
it's going to make a difference. And I think Rodney Terry's a good coach.
Right.
Texas just committed a 5-star point guard this week.
Yeah, the number one recruit in the nation.
In the 25 class, yeah.
Yeah.
So this team is going to be just fine. It's heading in the right direction. Listen, we're heading into the SEC with great basketball program and a great football program. And we haven't had a great baseball program and a great softball program. Texas athletics is definitely on the up, and we have nobody but CDC to thank for that. So, shout out to CDC. Thank you for making us great again. Yeah, I'm very excited going into the SEC.
Absolutely. And that volleyball team is a juggernaut. Don't sleep on them either.
Oh yeah, the volleyball team just clinched the Big 12 last week, I believe.
Yep.
Again, for like the 9 millionth time. So that's just what they do.
Right.
All right, Tim. Let's talk about it. Texas versus Texas State or Iowa State. Of course, Texas wins 26. Iowa State wins 16 or loses. Texas wins 26-16. Holy shit, I can't say anything.
It's the holiday.
In a game that really the score doesn't show it, right?
Right.
But Texas really dominated this game from beginning to end.
Yes.
As you see there, Quinn Ewers 23 for 33, 281, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Right.
Coming out party for your guy, Cedric Baxter, 20 rushes, 117 yards. And I think a guy who was really big last week. And I'm finally glad we used him. Jordan Whittington made some really good plays.
Jordan Whittington. Listen, and we talked about it. Steve mentioned it. I mentioned it. You mentioned it. Hey, if and when things don't necessarily work all the time, and we understand that there's never going to be a point where everything just works flawlessly. You might have one or two of those games throughout the season, but it doesn't necessarily happen all the time unless you have one of those magical seasons like at LSU or even at Texas or USC or something like that, where everything just kind of flows. There's really no adversity. You may stumble into something, but nothing truly crazy. But what do you do when you run into a situation where Jordan Whittington is or Xavier Worthy is getting double teamed? AD, not necessarily they're double teaming him. They're making sure that he's covered. You got Jatavian Sanders. He's been nicked up. He's coming back. He's still trying to get his reps in. Make sure he's getting back to in-game shape because he's been out a couple weeks or just not able to fully extend or fully play at 100%. And it takes a while to get back, even if you're 17, 18, whatever, however years old. It takes a minute because you're getting hit constantly, especially you're playing on the offensive line as a tight end. You're constantly banging bodies with people, so it takes a while, right? But wait, what a way for Jordan Whittington to step up. He had some crucial catches in that game. And in the second half, I think there was maybe a third and 10, maybe a third and 11. So Xavier Worthy had the same thing too. He had a great catch. It was like third and 10, catches the ball on a hitch route. He's able to shake one guy off and really power through it. And Xavier Worthy's not a big guy, right? He's a speed guy.
He's just shifty. Yeah. He's
not a possessive guy. But I mean, when to talk about fighting and carrying through, it was awesome to see. It was really good to see Quinn out there really just throwing the ball around. He looks great. He had some passes with some zip on it. You know how I am about trajectory and velocity. He looked good. He looked healthy. Cedric Baxter looked great. I know he's been nicked up all year, but he looked good. I'm very proud of what he looked like a man.
He looks like he might finally be ready to take that next step, and we'll find out this week what that looks like.
Right.
You talked about Quinn and him zipping the ball. There was one throw that really stuck out to me last week that Quinn throws over there to Jatavian Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
As Jatavian Sanders is hitting the sideline, and the way he thread the needle on that throw, put it in the pocket there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's a really nice throw. And again, Quinn is still hurt. He's probably playing at like 80, 85%.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a world if right, we just take care of our business and see what happens. If Texas makes the college football playoff, that gives Quinn a month to get ready. I think he's going to be 100% for that game.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think so.
Right, most of these guys will be 100%.
If they get into the college football playoff, which I believe that they can really, really do it. Of course, you got
setting themselves up really well.
You got Michigan, Ohio State this weekend. big deal. Florida, I know people are saying Florida State is still going to wipe Florida off the map, but you still don't have Jordan Travis. That's your best player. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a situation. Iron Bowl is this weekend. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on. Apple Cup, you know what I mean?
Rivalry weekend. Apple Cup's tonight.
Yeah, you got a lot, man. You got a lot riding tonight.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good point to make, Harish, that if you do give an opportunity to where Quinn gets to rest for a month, first off, you let that team rest for a month in general, because there's been nicks and bruises all over it. And that's a part of football, right? You're going to get nicked up. You're going to be bruised up. That's just a part of it. But you give an opportunity for a team like Texas to get healthy. You give an opportunity for a team like Texas and Sark to get game plan for 2 games. Oh, man.
Really, you just give an opportunity to plan for 1 game, right? Because once you get in the playoff, you can only worry about the first game.
That's true. That's true.
If the second game comes from that, you get an extra week for that second game because there's 2-week break. But really, the focus is get through that first game.
Right. The reason why I say 2 games is because I really, truly believe that Sark is a type of person to where he's confident in his team that they're going to win, right? So I feel like he's going to game plan for everybody, right?
Sure.
He's going to take that month. He's going to make sure his guys get healthy. He's going to make sure his guys are ready, and he's going to game plan for everybody in the college football, whoever it is. He's going to have a game plan ready, and all they have to do, hypothetically, let's say they win the game, he'll be ready to instill that next game plan as soon as that game's over. Hey, that next Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, take your rest. Monday, we back at it. He's gonna have that new game plan ready to go right then and there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit about Sark here because we saw his Monday press conference and what a lot of people believe is his best conference at the University of Texas.
Right.
And he talked about some things that we'll highlight on that I thought was a fantastic answer. And I was like, wow. Again, Sark, we failed to mention this. Sark also gets his first 10-win regular season, 10-win season.
Yeah, congrats to him, man.
Listen, for
a long time.
Yeah, for somebody that's gone through as much as Sark has, right? He was at Washington. He got let go. He has USC. He has the personal issues. So somebody that's gone through some of the personal issues that Sark has gone through, and to see him come back from that,
right? We
can give him, all sorts of whatever we need to for, hey, it's been 10 years and he just did it. Dude, like Sark has gone through a lot as a person, right? Forget Sark, the football coach. You don't see a lot of people come back from what Sark has gone through.
Right.
More times often than not, you see people get deeper and deeper into those types of holes.
Right.
But he made it happen, and kudos to Sark. 10 wins. We can finally he's laid to bed a lot of doubt in him this year.
Yeah.
4-0 on the road, right? 2-0 in night games, I believe. Yeah, 2-0 in night games this year. Probably going to be 3-0 after tonight. 10 wins for the first time in the regular season. He didn't even need a bowl game. Regular season wins for the first time in his career. We have a football coach.
We failed to mention, there was a thing about Sark not performing well on the road.
4-0 in road games this year.
Yeah, 4-0 in road games. Not to mention, like you said, he's gone through a lot. He's produced a lot of Heisman Trophy candidates, Heisman Trophy winners. Okay, and a lot of people would have wrote him off after the USC situation. And we saw that. We watched that live. The whole world saw that. That wasn't just a situation where it was a one-off. It had happened before. He took over he took over an 0-13 Washington football team.
He still doesn't get credit for that. Chris Peterson, the year after Sark leaves, Chris Peterson takes to the playoff.
Right.
And then he doesn't do anything after that.
Right. So it's a number of things that had happened with him. I'm just happy to we all like a good redemption story, right? It just so happens that it's that redemption story. We're seeing it live, and we're seeing it at Texas. A lot of people don't like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Nobody wants to see a redemption story happen at Texas. It's not what people want to see, right? People hate the Cowboys. People hate the Texas Longhorns. It's just hand in hand. They're big brands, big money, big oil, big and big expectations. And so when you have a coach like that coming in and he wants to uphold those big expectations, but he also wants people to do the same. He has expectations for the football players. He has expectations for the staff. He has expectations for the fans, right? Show up. Yeah. Remember what Mac used to say? Show up, be loud, stay late. Like
that's all it is.
Spark, and it kind of we could kind of go transition into this, Harish, about the culture.
Yeah,
this all falls right into the line of culture, right? All of this does. And you mentioned Anwar prior, that Anwar asked about the culture of Texas. And I know you've watched it more than I have. I did watch it. I didn't take away a lot that you have, so I'll let you kind of take over. But he did mention like 5-star culture, having a 5-star culture, holding these players accountable, the players holding each other accountable, and how that has changed the dynamic of Texas, where last year you may not have won against that Iowa State game. You're tied. What? It was 3-6 at halftime.
6-3. Yep.
6-3 at halftime. The week before that, you're not necessarily having the greatest offensive output. One of your best running backs goes down. You're still able to beat off swat away TCU. They were, annoying. Those type of games. 2 years ago, even last year, Texas would have lost all 3 of those games. Back. And this place and the media would have been on fire. And what Sark mentioned is, like, again, holding people accountable, being able to come in and really just have expectations, because it's an opportunity of a lifetime, right? We're leaving. We have an opportunity to win. We have an opportunity to set precedents and go into a new conference with confidence. So yeah, you got a lot there. It is a lot on the plate, but it can be done, and that's what Sark has been preaching all year.
Absolutely, and I wasn't looking away, ignoring you. I heard everything you said.
Absolutely.
I was looking for this tweet because I tweeted this out after we beat up Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted it out on Tuesday. There's a couple things here.
Right.
Number one, we are 5-0 in true road games this year. True road games is basically a game that you go on the road to another opponent's house.
Right. Not
neutral games,
neutral
not both sides. No neutral sites, right?
Right.
Texas is 5-0 in those games this year.
Awesome.
They were 1-4 last year. That's a big turnaround.
That's a big turnover. Jeez, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Texas has won 7 straight true road games.
That's awesome.
This year, dating back to last year, right? They finished the season. Did they go to Manhattan? Yeah, they go to Manhattan last year. They win that. And then they went somewhere else and they won that. I can't remember. It was towards the end of the season. That's what
got to Lubbock, I believe.
No, remember they lost in Lubbock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bijan fumble,
right.
I can't remember where they went. Doesn't matter, right? So they won 7 straight true road games, and that's the tweet I was looking for. So one of the things, and then you mentioned culture. So Anwar Richardson, OrangeBloods.com. Shout out to those guys there. Ask Sark a question this week, because Sark always says, hey, this is a culture one. This is a culture one. This is a culture one. As you build a program, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with how different college is to the NFL, right? As you build a program, you have to have a culture. And when we talk about culture just in the mindset of generality,
right,
it is how do you want to be viewed? How do you want to run as an organization, right? In good times and bad times, and times of difficulty, times of success, all that fun stuff, right? How do you engrave in the workplace, on a football team, as a manager, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I always compare being a head coach to compared to being like a manager of a team or a director of a team, right? In the workplace. It is your responsibility to make sure you do what you can to get your players to perform on the football field. So somebody finally did it, and they said, hey, you always talk about culture wins. What does culture actually mean? Right? And Sark, he really just like smirks it off as like the first thing, and it almost is like, "Whoa, I'm really glad you asked me about this." And he really went into a 5-minute discussion around what, and the fact that it was 5 minutes, right, truly shows that he really means like this is serious for him. Like he takes that very seriously, and he starts off by saying, culture isn't about breaking, 1, 2, 3 break culture, or it's not about putting it up on a board, or it's not about, putting it on a t-shirt and walking around with it. Right. And he names like maybe 6 or 7 things, 8 things that really mean culture. Right. So vulnerability, transparency, discipline, accountability, love, commitment, and then physical toughness. Right.
Right.
The one thing I want to touch on when it comes to these, 10 things, I think it's 8 or 10 things.
Right.
Vulnerability and transparency.
Right.
And he said he really went into these 2 things because it's about connecting with your players, connecting with them as people, right? If you know what your teammate is going through personally, it helps you understand what they need in order to be successful from you on the field.
Right.
And so he talked about in the off season, every Wednesday, they do a culture activity. And this activity is basically like sharing something about yourself, right?
Right.
Something that you've been through, something that meant a lot to you. And he always went first. So the players know a lot about the journey that he's been through.
Right.
And it goes back to being a leader for this program, being the guy that's setting the example for what is expected. And then accountability, and really, the example that he used when he talked about accountability, and I thought it was a very cool example. So he said his first year here, you had the team meeting, people like eat and stuff, and they put there's trash all over the place. Right. So he said that Bijan Robinson and Roshan Johnson, his first year here, were the guys that would like help clean out the meeting rooms after every meeting.
Right.
Well, last year it was not just Bijan and Roshan; it was the entire running back room.
Oh wow!
So now that group has grown, right?
Right.
This year, it's the entire team. Everybody stays, and they clean up their own trash. They make sure that the area that they're in is clean. That is culture. That is being there for your brother. That is being there for your teammate, right?
Right.
And it just gives that's a lot of different things. That's love. That's commitment. That's accountability. Hey, go pick up your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that can translate to, hey, you need to get your block on this play because if you don't, I'll call you out on it, right? And then mental and physical toughness. And I think this is improved just by the strength and conditioning of this team. Sark talked about this earlier this year. He talked about how the strength and conditioning of this team has helped them for difficult situations, moments where they need to close games out. He talked about it right after the Alabama game, right? They worked all summer in the heat, and they pushed everybody all summer in the heat. And that's the mental and physical toughness aspect of it all.
Right.
It also is the discipline. Now, I wouldn't say this team its discipline is good, right?
Right.
It's not.
There's been some slippage before.
It's not great. If it was great, we would have boat raced Oklahoma.
Right.
I'm just saying. And we'd probably be number 1 in the polls right now. But that's neither here nor there. You can't control that anymore. It's done. It's over with.
Right.
But I really think after hearing Sark on Monday, I think, and Tim, this raises another question for you, and I actually have a question. So, Sark, if you were to give Sark a rating, right? Let's just say he's being given a review today. Would you say Sark is below expectations? He has met expectations, or he has exceeded expectations?
Year 3. Okay, so year 3, I'll quickly off the top of my head, I will say he has exceeded expectations.
Why?
Here's why. With the way I specifically remember, Texas had a couple of key losses in recruiting. They didn't necessarily hit on. I know my man that said LSU, that was a major loss. They were supposed to get him. I forget, he was a defensive end. They lost him.
Charles Perkins?
Yeah, him and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, there was a couple of things that had happened throughout that. Of course, the transfer portal. I really thought A.D. Mitchell was a great. But for me, the all goals is to get into the Big 12. And again, these are simple but very macro things, right? So like, for instance, the Iowa State game, I said, hey, this is going to be a tight game. Defense and special teams is going to have to step up. What do you know? Defense and special teams steps up. You get a blocked field goal or a blocked extra point, get returned for 2 points. That gives Texas a 5-point lead before they score a touchdown. Then you get another opportunity where you get, it was Xavier Worthy catches a punt return, gets taken to the house, gets called back, right? Bad play by them, blocking the back. Very tic-tac, very wish-washy call. The next series, he returns it 30 yards, gets Texas right back into Iowa State territory. Like, stuff like that, like, it's very minuscule stuff. It's Jatavian Sanders. It's Jaden Blue picking up that ball and running the ball for 4 yards at Alabama when Quinn drops the ball. It's stuff like that. It's Xavier Worthy being I don't care what anybody says. When Xavier Worthy has a ball coming towards his way and they're running the ball, that dude is moving people. For him to be small, he's moving people. Jordan Whittington, very good at run blocking. Very, very good at run blocking. So it's again, stuff like Michael Taft. Like, I know you're not a big fan of Michael Taft. Michael Taft getting interceptions.
I'm giving Michael Taft I wasn't a fan of Michael Taft at the beginning of the season, but he's definitely grown as a player. He's been a big part of this defense.
Yeah, big part of his defense. So it's like minuscule stuff, right? It's very small stuff. Also, can we talk about? I haven't really seen this in the past, but I've seen more and more UT players hanging out with each other out in public.
Yeah. That's
never by themselves, right? Never by themselves. I've seen Jordan Whittington, Quinn Ewers hanging out, Arch and Quinn hanging out, doing community work, community service work. Not saying that they had to do it. They don't necessarily have to do it, but they're doing it. Okay. So they're out here, they're in the community, they're hanging out. And I can't say, I'm not taking anything away from these teams of the past, but it wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't out there.
Yeah.
You got Texas players openly recruiting other players. Like, hey, like, what's up, dog? Like, hey, man, you'd be great in burnt orange. Like, I see it all the time, dog. It's a shift. It's a major shift. I know people won't think of something like that as major, but it is, dog, because it's like, not only are you proud to represent your team, you hanging out with your brothers doing community service, but that oozes out, man. That thing that just transitions out and people can see it, and it's not fake, it's real. And when you can see that's a major win for me. Texas could have 3 losses right now. I would still think, we want, if as long as they were competing for a Big 12 title, I would say your your expectations are up there. But again, if they were like I said, they fought hard last year. These games that they're playing now, these close games that they played now within the last 3 weeks, I don't think they win them. They just don't win them, dog. And that's big. That's big because they believe in themselves. Once you go down, like you have the opportunity to be like, hey, like we can still come back. I can't say that for last year's teams because it's been shown, history has shown that it didn't work. It didn't work out.
What's weird though is this team. I don't think this team has trailed much this year.
No, it hasn't.
They've gotten ahead and they've blown leads, but they haven't trailed.
Right. So
they trailed by one to Kansas State for like what, a couple possessions.
Yeah.
And then they trailed the only game they trailed a lot was Oklahoma.
But how many games have we seen in the past where they've gone out and had these major, fantastic, some of the most beautiful football we've seen in years?
Oh yeah.
And blow
like literally every week.
And blow it. So
literally every week.
They're not doing that. It says a lot. They believe in themselves.
Yep.
Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's not only aggressive coaching, but players. Like maybe players are being more vocal to Sark and being like, hey, like we need to close this thing out. We need to be more aggressive. I don't necessarily know. I'm not an insider, and neither are you, but something has clearly changed.
Yeah, the culture.
Right, from last year to this year. So yes, if the culture again, that breeds winning. When you have a winning culture, you'll start to win. You'll see it, and it'll reflect on the field. So yeah, I definitely think it's succeeding.
By the way, TCU Oklahoma kicking off right now. Josh Hubert is playing this week.
Okay.
Gonna try to spoil Oklahoma's last day in the Big 12 because I be honest with you, Tim, and I wouldn't be shocked. I think we see Texas Oklahoma State next week.
You think so?
Yeah, I as bad as Oklahoma State has been the choker this year, I just don't see them losing.
Yeah, they wet the bed last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
How do you?
These losses they had, right? South Alabama and
they're
UCF
bad.
are just bad
because
they're not losing these games close. They're getting blown out.
They're getting blown to smithereens, and I don't. To be fair, listen, I know Gus Malzahn,
and it's not a very good Oklahoma State team.
Right.
I think Texas handles this team pretty easily next week.
Gus Malzahn, he's gonna be a problem in a couple years.
You know who's gonna be a problem in the Big 12 next year? Deion Sanders. I would not be. They just committed a 4-star linebacker yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Deion's setting himself up to win the Big 12 next year.
Hey, I think
it's a bad conference, so it's not really saying much. But
I think even with the parting of Texas and Oklahoma, I still think it is a conference that you can't just completely overlook.
Well, yeah, because all the teams are fairly even, right? They're all going to beat up on each other.
Utah is going to be the big dog.
Utah.
Colorado
and Utah are going to be the big dog.
Yeah.
Arizona's good too. That quarterback they got?
Oh, yeah. That quarterback is good, man. That quarterback is good.
Really
quarterback is good.
He might be the best quarterback in the conference next year.
He flings the ball, bro.
I think he's better. I think he's better than Shador. That dude is a beast.
I didn't know, dog.
You know where he came from? He came from California.
Really?
So there's two schools in California, right? This guy came from a third school that's just now up and coming in California. Obviously, we all know about
De La Salle.
De La Salle and not De La Salle. Mateo. Is it Mateo?
Anyway. Yeah.
Hold on. I looked this up real quick. His name is Jesus Christ. Talila? Tafu? I can't know. I don't know how to say it.
It's hard. It's like, I don't want to get the race wrong, but it might be like Polynesian.
Fafita. I keep saying A. His name is Fafita. His last name is Fafita. This dude is really good.
Yeah, he is.
And I've seen him play, and I'm like, oh, wow.
He can mix it up.
That's good, and he can fling the rock.
Yeah, he can mix it up.
He might be the best quarterback in the Big 12 next year. I'm not even frightened. I'm being so serious.
Hey, listen, I said this earlier this year. Quarterback wise, the Pac-12 got it this year.
They had so many good quarterbacks.
So,
and it's almost like, why did it take the last year of this conference for the quarterback play to be this good?
Right.
There are so many good quarterbacks.
Right. Because even DJ be flinging that thing around at Oregon State. Penix, Bo Nix, he's been in school for forever. He looks good. Like Shedeur, as bad as that offensive line looks, you give Shedeur enough time, man, he might be able to. He'll pick you apart if you give him enough time. You just got to have a good offensive line, a decent offensive line.
I think Deion's going to fix that O-line. I think it's going to be, I think Deion goes and gets more transfers. I think he might say, hey, man, like almost
scrap this whole offensive line.
I think he might. He's not afraid to do it. That O-line is terrible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
And he still won 4 games.
Right. And it's crazy because you watch Shedeur, and Shedeur started off so hot. Yeah. So you're like, oh man, like.
Well, I also think they just changed the way they call plays. Like, listen, when you have an offensive line that's that bad, just trying to chuck the ball down the field doesn't do Shedeur any favors. You got to you have to dink and dump your way through every game.
Yeah.
Like if he's throwing 50 times and he's getting 5 yards a clip, then that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, give it to him.
I think that's what Deion. Yeah.
As long as the completions in there and you can somewhat move the ball, like running wise, like
I think that's where Deion. He should have tried to eat more clock offensively, and I think that's where Deion didn't do well. Anyway, this isn't the Colorado football show. I don't really care about what they do down there in Colorado. They're not in our conference anyway. They never will be because they like to lose 73 in Big 12 championship games. But
and then that next 2 years later, they dipped out, and it was like,
deuce. And they're like, well, Texas is gone. Hey, man, we would have come back.
Yeah, nah, that's crazy.
Hot take: the next time we have realignment, A&M's going to leave the SEC.
Going back to Big 12?
I wouldn't be surprised. They're trying to get away. They're trying to get away from Texas, bro. That don't want nothing to do with us. Now they have to get beat by us every year again. All right, so let's talk about Tech.
All right.
So tonight, 6:30, the last Big 12. I'm not going to say the last Big 12 game ever because we have a championship to win next week, but the last Big 12 regular season game ever. Texas Tech, Brett Yormark, Joey McGuire, the whole crew is coming down to Austin for their final ass kicking.
Yep.
Couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Taj Brooks because Taj Brooks, I think, is the second or third leading rusher in the nation.
Second. He's number 2.
He's 2. How do you see this matchup going with the best defensive line in the nation against Taj Brooks? Actually, the best interior defensive line in the nation. We got some issues on the edge, but interior, it's the best interior defensive line.
Most definitely. So I expect Texas Tech to really, really try to impose their will. This is strength versus strength, right?
Yep.
Obviously, Iowa State, one of their strongest things was running the ball. Look how that ended.
Yep.
Now, I don't necessarily know from a talent perspective how great Texas Tech is when it comes to linemen, interior linemen, tackles, tight ends. Don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
We do know that Texas Tech has a beast of a running back. He's really, really good. And I think it was Chip Brown that mentioned that he reminds him of Jonathan Brooks a lot.
Okay.
Like they're very similar. They break tackles.
Yep.
You can't hit them up high.
Yep.
You're gonna need to make sure that when you make contact with him, that you get him down on the ground fully. So if that is the case, I can't wait to see it. We know that they're not a great passing team at all.
Nope.
And that's normal. What's crazy is that's what Texas Tech is known for. Air raid, 5 wide, spread you out, spread you out, running, hurry up offense, and really just getting the ball
everywhere. Yeah.
Getting the ball into someone's hands very quickly.
Yep.
That's not this team this year. This team is slow. We're going to run the ball. We're going to shove it down your throat. And that's how we're going to get. People forget. They were one play away from beating Oregon. People forget that.
Yes, they were. They lose that game 28-20.
Threw an interception on the last play. They were winning the ball game.
That was crazy.
They threw an interception for a pick six that was the first game of the week. The first game at that time, I was like, okay, man, Texas Tech could be something. Texas Tech could be something. But again, I think Texas will prevail. I think they will put an emphasis on stopping the running back. They did so last week. That was another big thing.
They didn't just stop Iowa State.
We gonna run the ball. We gonna. That was the thing. We're gonna run the ball. I don't think I don't think Texas has seen a good offensive line like us or a team like us. Cool, bro. It's cool if you do it.
If that was the best offensive line Texas saw all year, Jesus.
Yeah. That quarterback got hit 5 times.
By the way,
5 times.
Did you see Byron Murphy blow up Jared the lineman last week?
Absolutely.
There was a play where Jared the lineman looked lost, like completely lost. He looked, for a guy that talked that much, he looked horrible. That looked like me talking shit and then going and playing football.
There's a little bit of an extra motivation behind this game too. Not only are we talking about strengths in Texas Tech and the Big 12 commissioner have been talking trash for well over a year. Okay, Texas Tech a couple years ago, we're gonna let everybody know, hey, we don't care about beating Texas. We want everybody to know that the Big 12 runs through Lubbock, right? Remember that speech?
I sure do. They lost after they beat Texas.
Right. They lost 4 games after that. Cool. Right. The next thing is, and we mentioned it at the start of the year, Big 12 commissioner, he's showing interest in Texas Tech, which I'm like, ain't you supposed to be biased? Ain't you supposed to just be like, hey, I'm representing the Big 12. Like, I love all the Big 12 teams equally. He clearly didn't do that. Okay. Yeah. He comes out. This is back in July. I want Joey McGuire to take care of business.
Oh, he's going to get some business taken care of today. Okay. This team needs no extra motivation today. They are going to be fired up. And you know what? For those of you guys that plays Prize Picks this week, Taj Brooks has only had 3 games under 100 yards. He's getting under 100 yards this week. I don't think he gets 50 yards this week.
I'm with you. Excuse me. I'm with you. I don't see Taj Brooks going over 100 yards. Harish, now, what do you think? What do you think is a key to this game? Like, what do you want to see done in this game?
I want to see this secondary finally grow up. I want to see the secondary take the next step. I think the defensive line takes care of business. I don't think Taj Brooks is going to do all that well today. And that's just that's nothing against Taj Brooks, right? I'm looking at his stats.
He's a great player. He's an
excellent player. Excellent player. 105 versus BYU, 146 against TCU, 133 against Kansas, 182 against
Kansas is a good defensively. They're not bad.
They're okay, but they're a better secondary than they are a run football team. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Better against the pass because they have
their secondary is crazy good.
They have those long, lengthy corners. Right. Kansas State, he only gets 98 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon, he only gets 71 yards.
Right.
Wyoming, he got 39 yards.
Right. Wyoming was a tough team to run on. Period. Remember, we struggled against Wyoming.
I mean, we got over 100, but we still struggled to get there.
Right.
But all these teams that he went over 100 against, 170 against Baylor. They suck. 101 against Houston. They only got he only got 101 on Houston. 150 against West Virginia. They suck. 158 against Tarleton State. They might. I actually heard something that they might get into the FBS next year.
Tarleton State.
Yeah,
they deserve it.
Yeah. So
James Madison.
As great as he is, well, James Madison is already in the FBS. They just
you're right. They just can't play any bowl games
because the NCAA sucks.
Right.
But anyway, Taj Brooks is a great running back. But all these teams that he ran against suck.
Right.
I'm just saying. This will be by few and by far the best defensive line he will see. And it's not even close.
Listen, I expect to see and hear a lot of popping of plastic. A lot of pads. A lot of pads popping tonight. Okay. It's going to be clear. It's going to be 60 degrees. So it's not going to be like super uber cold.
Yep.
It's going to be nice. You know, it's long sleeve weather. It's not going to be like, put on a pea coat, run around. Yeah. It's going to be nice. We're supposed to get up to 60, 67 as a high. So like maybe like 70, because we never really just stay right where we're supposed to be. So I expected to get up to about 70, then like 630. Man, it's going to be time to rock and roll, man. And it's going to be the last Big 12 game of the regular season. Now, I do expect Texas Tech to throw everything at us. I mean, flea flick.
Oh, we're going to see salsas.
Double passes.
Stuff, they're going to be in desperation mode, honestly.
Yeah.
And there might be desperation mode early.
Right.
They're going to get down early.
Yeah.
If Todd, and look, if they get down 14-21, they're going to abandon Taj Brooks completely. Yeah. And I can honestly see that happening. So my challenge for this team isn't necessarily the defensive line, it's for the secondary.
Right.
They're going to see a lot of throwing today. And Baron Morton's not – he hasn't done very well. On the season, he's 136 for 214, 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Right.
He's done okay.
Right? He's done all right.
I'd like to see some turnovers.
You can still see from those stats alone, like he hadn't thrown for over – how many throwing yards? How many yards passing does he have?
1,400.
So he didn't have over 1,500 yards.
Yeah,
so that lets you know.
Best game throwing was 282 against TCU.
That lets you know right there that hey, we run the ball. We have a quarterback that can make plays, but that's not necessarily what we need him to do. We need him to get the ball to the best player. Best player is our running back. He's the number 2 running back in the country. Let's give it to him. Let's try to play good defense. Let's try to win. Now, possession-wise, I think Texas can get them possession-wise. Texas out. I don't know if you know this. Texas is significantly bigger on the offensive line than Texas Tech. They may have maybe outside of like 1 or 2.
Two spots.
I
think they're bigger than every O-line and defensive line and Big 12. I think Oklahoma's comparable. I still don't think they're there yet, but yeah, Texas.
I'm talking weight wise. Like I'm talking big 300. Yeah.
Yes. By far. Yeah.
Like Tavondre Sweat is what? They said he's like 340 or something like that.
Yeah, he's 360.
He's 20. I'm 20 pounds heavier than he is.
He's 360. Yeah.
That's a big dog, man. That's a big dog.
That's a big
dog. Yeah, I expect Texas to win. Again, I know that I think there's going to be a tight quarter or 2. I could say the first half is going to be tight. Just like that Iowa State game, I think Texas game plans, they come out of the half and then they just kind of pour it on, right? You want them to pour it on in that second half. We know that they're going to play well in the first half. That's been a thing. We need them to go in and really just play that full game. Again, it's beating a drum, but that's what it really boils down to. Do you have a score? Because last week I gave you 20. I gave you 20 to 30 to 10, 20. My 10 points, man. That's stuck.
Yeah, I had 27-24 last week.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't think this is gonna be a close game at all.
Okay.
I think Texas. I've been waiting for this game all year, and I've always felt like, especially in the last few weeks have shaken up, Texas is finally going to put it together today. There's a lot of motivation behind this game. Exactly. This isn't about culture wins, right? This is about the next step for me. And I think Sark and his coaching staff has preached that next step. How do you go blow out a game, blow out a team, play 60 minutes, and put together a complete game?
This is that killer instinct that we talked about, right? Yes. Like this is that killer instinct that we've been looking for a long time, right? That they've been talking about, that Sark's been talking about, that Xavier Worthy and all those guys, the seniors have been talking about. This is a senior night also, right?
It is senior night. Yep.
Last game of the year for the seniors. There's quite a few seniors on the team that have been with us for a long ride. So
they've helped turn this program around, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of that is I'm really happy to see that Jordan Whittington decided to come back. I really think I definitely think that he will get drafted. I think not only we know he's talented, right? Because the University of Texas just didn't go and give everybody scholarships, but not only were you able to, his career as a whole is a coming of age story as well, right? Yep. You come in, you get injured, you have a COVID year, you got people starting over you. You know for yourself, you self-evaluate yourself and be like, hey, I know that I need to come back because there's things that I need to get better at. Like, I also want to get my degree. I also want to get my master's, things like that. Like, that shows quality, and not as a football player, but as a human being, right?
Yep.
When he goes to the combine, because I believe he'll get a combine invite, and I believe he will be in the Senior Bowl as well. And I think he'll actually stand out very much in that Senior Bowl. When you see people like that, or when you interview these types of people, they're going to see that, right? These general managers are going to see that, and I definitely believe he'll be on somebody's roster. So you said it was going to be a blowout. What was the number that you gave?
49-7.
49-7. I'm going to say Texas wins big, but I still think that Tech puts points on the board. I think Tech will put points on the board late. So I'm saying Texas is going to win 35-17.
Okay.
35-17. I still believe that they're going to cover that spread. A lot of people don't believe it because, of course, the last couple of weeks, hey, I get it. I understand. But I definitely think Texas covers the spread this week. And again, they have the motivation, like you said, Harish, like all the motivation that they need from the quarterback to the Big 12 commissioner being in town. And again, like you said, we don't want to look forward to next week, but even next week, they're going to have more of a reason to be motivated to go out and win this thing. Not only because they'll have an opportunity to possibly get into a college football playoff, but I want to look. To me, if I was a player, I want to look that commissioner in the face as he's handing my coach that trophy for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I don't even want to see him after the game this week.
I don't want to see. I don't want to see you this week.
I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week when you hand me that trophy. I'm gonna look you in your eyes and I'm gonna say thank you.
And when you give Tavondre that WWE belt that you built for the future of this conference, we're gonna take the first one.
Exactly. So yeah, do we want to talk Big 12 championship scenarios right quick?
We do. The last thing I want to say: this is the last time the Big 12 logo will be on the Texas football stadium.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Awesome. I can't wait. Fuck this conference.
Guys, new flags, new symbol. We're
gonna cheer SEC tonight as we beat the hell out of Texas Tech. Oh, I can't wait. SEC baby.
6:30 kickoff, guys. 6:30 kickoff.
All right.
And for y'all that are going, there's still some tickets are available. Not necessarily the greatest seats, but as it gets closer, I would continue to check. If you want to just go and check out, me and Harish have done this in the past where we've gone to see Oklahoma State, a ranked Oklahoma State take on a Texas, and was able to get in for $40 and had great seats. Yeah. So
I will say though, looking right now, I think this game is either sold out or close to sold out because these tickets are not cheap.
So they've gone up then. And
so the cheapest
the cheapest seat I saw was like 102.
Double that now.
Oh, okay. Well, then they're getting bought up then.
Yeah, they're getting bought up. They're based. I mean, this is the last Big 12 game ever. I knew this game was going to be sold out.
Right.
A lot of people are coming back into town
Right.
from yesterday to go to this game, and thankfully it's a night game because they're able to make it.
Right.
But I'm looking at the Game Time app. Let's go check. While we do that, let's check StubHub, not SeatGeek. Let's see.
Yeah, man. Nice and clear. 63. Man, no rain. It's gonna be great.
What a beautiful day.
Man, that's the great thing about, like, I liked when I did play ball, I did like playing in cold weather if we ever had an opportunity to, because man, you get to, some people believe in this, like going out there and just playing raw, no sleeves, no nothing, no gloves. Man, I thought I took that opportunity to look like a freaking creative player in Madden, dog. Like I have my long sleeves on with my good gloves, with my spiked cleats. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Look at this seat.
Oh, how much is that?
$82.
That's the top mezzanine, right?
Yeah, that's a nice seat. I might snag this. Oh, it's no longer available.
Man, just like that.
Oh, that was a great price.
$82 is great.
For that seat, that was a phenomenal price.
Now, was that visiting side or was that Texas side?
We're on the home side, baby. This is our stadium. But the next cheapest ticket was $152.
Oh yeah, no, dog. But yeah,
and that's up in the upper deck.
Right.
Like it's very back of the stadium. Anyway, Big 12 championship scenarios. All right, guys. Very simple for Texas, right? Win and you're in. That is that simple. Win and you're in.
Win and get in, yeah.
Now there's not very many scenarios out there, but there is one unique scenario where Texas loses and a couple things happen. Texas is not in the Big 12 championship game.
Right.
And that scenario is basically if Texas were to lose, and a combination of Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State, if two of those three teams win, then Texas is out.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then if let's just say everybody loses, right, then it's all crazy and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it does get crazy. Before we get out of here, again, there's a lot of big games here tonight. I know, I know a lot of people wouldn't think, but it is rivalry weekend. That is a big game because it doesn't matter how, and me and Harish, you and I can both tell, just from experience, it doesn't matter how big you go up, how many points you may put up on the board in the first half. When you're playing against your rival, doesn't matter how your team looks, it's kind of all out the window from there. You know what I mean? So
we saw it firsthand this year.
We saw it firsthand. We've seen it firsthand in the past. Texas Tech versus Texas. I would say it's a rivalry game. That game's always been played really tough. Again, Texas has won the last 7 out of 10. But again, this has a lot of meaning. We also got Oregon State versus Oregon tonight. That is a big fucking game, right?
That's a massive game.
That's a massive game, right?
I actually added a topic as a Texas fan.
Right.
Here are the games that you need to watch this weekend.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Oregon versus Oregon State. Lots of implications for Texas. Listen, Oregon State can help play spoiler for the Pac-12.
Yes.
And if you guys don't know, Oregon State is the last team, as one of the last two teams to basically get left out in the dark, right?
Yeah.
So they could say, you know what, screw you guys, and go ruin it for the entire conference.
Absolutely.
So if Oregon State beats Oregon tonight, that's huge for Texas.
Absolutely. That's a big shift because again,
and then they can go and play Washington again.
That's the same situation, like win and get in, right?
Yeah.
People are getting to a point to where they're beginning to cannibalize their own because they're playing against each other. They're playing against each other late, there's no real reason. Like, if Oregon State, and we know Oregon State is capable because we've seen them put up points. They beat Oregon State, or they beat Oregon at Oregon. Oregon's number 6.
Oregon's out.
Oregon's out. That's the second loss. They lost to Washington. That's number 2, right? So then let's say Texas gets past, they get past Texas Tech. Now they're at 6. Well, then you still got to keep your eyes on that Florida State versus Florida game. No Jordan Travis.
This is the cool thing about being at 7 for Texas, right? If Oregon and Florida loses this week, Texas puts itself in a spot to win next week, and they're in the top 4.
Right.
So definitely want to look for Oregon to lose. You want to look for Florida to pull some. Billy Napier, he's having a horrible time at Florida, but maybe he can pull something out.
I think if he's able to win, he would probably save his job. Honestly,
maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
They have KJ Leaway coming in next year. The Willis quarterback, who actually plays DeSoto tomorrow.
Right.
I really want to watch that game. Willis versus DeSoto. That KJ Leaway, that dude looks unreal.
Yeah, he can fling it and he can run.
He's almost caught up to Kyler Murray's touchdown total for the year.
Jesus.
Like 75. I think he's like 4 away. He's at 70 or 71. But innocent season. So I'm actually very curious in that game. But so Oregon State, Florida State, Florida. Obviously, you want to watch the game. In my opinion, if you watch the game, if you're looking for somebody to root for, I think you would want Ohio State to win over Michigan.
You want Ohio State to beat Michigan for sure.
In all actuality, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
But there is a better shot. The committee wants a reason to put Michigan out.
Right.
Because of the whole assigned stealing thing, right?
Right.
If Michigan loses, they'll probably go down below Alabama for sure.
I think they would fall to what are they ranked right now? Like 2?
Michigan's at 3. I think they go to like 8 or 9.
Yeah, they would.
They want to make it impossible.
They'd fall against 6 slots for sure.
So that helps Texas. If Michigan, Oregon, and Florida State find a way to lose this weekend,
right,
that puts Texas at 4, at least, and then you see what happens next week, right? Alabama will probably sit at 5, right? And then if they beat Georgia, they go to 1. Georgia's start, and if Texas wins, then Georgia's out next week. Right. So I don't care if Georgia's won 29 in a row. I looked at Georgia and Alabama's schedule. Neither team has played anybody.
That's fair.
Neither team has played anybody. Like people love to give their flowers to those 2 teams. The best win Alabama has is against 3-loss LSU and 4-loss Tennessee.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo. We have 3 and 4-loss wins all over our schedule.
Right.
And we beat Alabama at home, so suck it. So anyway, there's a lot of games. Oregon State you should be watching. Ohio State, Florida. I mean, obviously the game, right?
Right.
Florida State. And then keep an eye on the Iron Bowl because you just never know.
You never know.
We've seen crazy things happen.
The kick 6.
The kick 6. If you guys remember the kick 6, we've seen unreal things happen in that game. So it's just one of those games. Is it in Auburn?
It's in Auburn.
Okay, yeah. You just never know. You know how these crappy teams like to get up for big games.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you just got to sit back and see what happens. Before you sit back and relax, though, Texas needs to take care of business. So go do that tonight, and then come back tomorrow. It's in Auburn tomorrow at 2:30. So, All right. Before we get out of here, Tim, where can the people find you?
They can find me at Tim Wayne, man, on Twitter. Let's talk football. Let's hang out. Let's talk ball. If you want to talk college, pro, I'm all for it. Either one. Let's talk ball. Let's talk games. We can talk anything, man. Let's go.
Cool. You can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Of course, as always, follow us on Twitter at Longhorn Fan Battle. our LH Fan Battle. Follow us on YouTube at Longhorn Fan Battle. We are live every Thursday from at 8:30 p.m. Central. We big game tonight. Let's take care of business. Head back on to Arlington. But between now and then, my name is Harish. That's my guy Tim Wayne. Peace.
We'll see you championship weekend, baby. Joe Gabriel.
Go home, touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn